Hello, Fantastic Beasts fans! On the first day of Grindelmoss, my true love gave to me a prior meet between Lita and Grindy. Sorry for the horrible singing, but I've got an exciting new theory to share with you, one that will kick off my 12 days of Grindelmoss. I'm Susan Chapal with Fantastic Secrets Behind Fantastic Beasts to bring you the clues.
Join me and other Fantastic Beasts fans here on the Beast Chaser Forum as we uncover the secrets, discover what's coming first, and play along with Rowling's newest game. And make sure you hit the subscribe button as well as the bell notification so you'll be notified when videos post and won't miss out on the next clues.
Before we get started, I want to introduce you to the 12 days of Grindelmoss. Every other day until December 24th, I'll be posting a short new theory on Crimes of Grindelwald. Well, today's is not so short, but the rest probably will be. And with these videos, I'll be offering giveaways, including Funko Pops and 3 Newt Scamander pins from J.K. Rowling's charity, Lumos. Stick around to the end of the video where I'll share how to enter. If you've been watching my channel since the film released, you know that we've been developing a theory that Credence is an alchemically created child of both Albus and Gellert, and is the visible form of that blood vial, or blood troth, between them, a magical marriage. See the most recent video, linked above, for more. As I also mentioned, I believe that Grindelwald is very possibly a Lestrange descendant, that we see his mother on that Lestrange family tree. This could even be the reason why the tree was designed in such exquisite detail by MinaLima, even though it seemed the Corvus thread was a false lead. That Lestrange tree could be the critical first step in revealing Grindelwald's own backstory, which is fogged with complete mystery before Durmstrang. A family tree that will also connect him to Lita. In the amphitheater, when Lita first enters, before Grindelwald even speaks, she is studying him, wondering. Queenie is rapt, Jacob scared, Kama skeptical, Credence transfixed, and Nagini trusting nobody. But Lita, she's wondering. She knows something. Grindelwald even greets her with, "The one I believe I know." They've met before, but Lita seems initially to have a hard time placing him. The most striking bit of evidence of her knowledge is in her sacrifice. Lita doesn't just cast a spell at Grindelwald to distract the others. She strikes for the skull. Why aim at the skull rather than Grindelwald? Could she know that to strike the skull is to set off a bomb? For an answer to how Lita might have this inside knowledge, I go back to a scene moments before where Rowling provides a parallel clue. As soon as Lita enters the mausoleum, Yusuf recognizes her. We don't really know why in the film, but it's stated clearly in the screenplay. She is his mother reborn. He moves toward Lita, studies her face in the darkness. Both Yusuf and Lita share a part of a story that remains incomplete, woven with remaining mysteries. Lita is sent from home at a very young age, and yet she knows about her father's family tree, knows how it works, that the women are not pictured, and that once opened, the tree has the power to reveal to the world her biggest fear and secret, that she killed her younger brother. If Grindelwald had a connection, a mother on that tree, it's possible that with time, Lita would have recognized her as well, if Lita's life hadn't been cut short. It's even possible that Lita met Grindelwald when she was very young at a family gathering, but that the meeting was so long ago, she's having a hard time remembering it now in the amphitheater, until she strikes. There's another slim possibility, however, for how Lita knew Grindelwald. To start with this other possibility, let's look at Credence's adoption paper that's in MinaLima's book, The Archive of Magic. Fans have been quick to point out the discrepancy with Credence's birth date according to the adoption paper and the date the ship sailed. The adoption paper has 1904. The ship sailed in 1901 with babies Credence and Corvus aboard. Perhaps this isn't a mistake after all. I have an idea that relates to the ages of the young actors in the cast. If you look at IMDb, young Newt and young Lita as teens are listed between 13 to 16. In their first scene where Lita is escaping her tormentors, they are both 13. 3 years later, in the Bogart scene, they are 16. However, the same is not true for the youngest Lita actress. Her age is listed as 3 to 6, but we only see her in the ship scene in 1901, when, according to these calculations, she would have been 3. So why do they have her age listed as 3 to 6? Well, 1904 is 3 years later than 1901. So if she was 3 years old in 1901, she would have been 6 in 1904. Did the filmmakers plan for or even shoot another scene of the youngest Lita in 1904 at age 6 that got cut? And if so, what would it have been? I think it no coincidence that the 6-year-old date of the actress aligns with the 1904 date on the adoption paper. Something fishy is going on here. Could the scene Rowling planned for 1904 that involved Lita have included Grindelwald as well? Is this why Lita looked at Grindelwald with wonder and seemed to recognize the power of his skull? Did she have young memories of the two that she was trying to piece together? Memories that, in the end, made her aim for the skull. But could this 1904 scene have revealed too much too soon and was thus deleted? Let's think this through. It's possible that Irma took care of both children for 3 years in New York. Once they were safely on dry land, after the danger had passed, wouldn't Irma have recognized that she held the wrong baby? After all, she seems to have taken care of young Corvus from the time he was born. And knowing that she'd lost the very important young pureblood left in her care, might she have been too afraid to follow through with the father's original plans, or even to let Corvus Lestrange know his son had died? But, I hear you say, she greets Credence so warmly in the film, confirming she thought he was Corvus. Actually, she doesn't. If you look at the quotes from Irma carefully, they reveal nothing more than that she recognizes him. Notice that never does Irma say the name Corvus or Lestrange, only that she was a servant. Later, we know whose servant she was, thanks to Yusuf, so we fill in the blanks ourselves. But she never says any of Credence's names to confirm who she thinks he could be. It's possible that Irma, afraid and unsure of what to do following Corvus's death, took care of Credence and Lita in New York before Credence was eventually placed with Mary Lou, and Lita, for whatever reason, was sent directly to the UK, to Hogwarts, if she didn't return to Paris first. But that's a thread I hope to explore in a future video. For now, back to Irma. If Grindelwald had made contact with young Credence and Lita while they were still under Irma's care, it would explain why he wanted the half-elf killed before she could reveal that connection. Did he go searching for the lost son he created with Albus, hoping to find the immense powerful being he'd sought to create, but instead he found a needy, helpless baby who smelled of squib? Disappointed, he tossed him aside, a deliberate parallel to his tossing of the baby Chupacabra, the needy Antonio. Or was young Lita a very effective liar, convincing him that his own son was dead? Either way, I think it was Grindelwald who had Irma place Credence with Mary Lou as some sort of revenge. Lita only says that baby Corvus was to be sent to America, not to whom. Thus, in this scenario, it's Grindelwald's fault that Credence developed the Obscurus. Then, years later, when Grindy's on the search for an Obscurio wreaking havoc in New York, he hunts up this magical child he tossed aside years earlier, hiding his identity, knowing that Credence's magical instinct and life on the streets of New York might lead him to the powerful, unloved, and abused child he seeks to discover, only to understand, too late, that Credence was it all along. In FB1, we are not shown Grindelwald's first meeting with Credence. Graves greets Credence with, "You're upset. It's your mother again." And Credence says a bit later, "I'm still looking. Mr. Graves, if I knew whether it was a boy or girl." They've met before. Of all the people in New York, why would Grindelwald have sought out a supposed no-mage to find an Obscurus? It makes no sense. Unless Grindelwald already knew who Credence was, or thought he did. If he believed Credence to be his own creation that he'd rejected, he might think Credence yet possessed some magical senses that could lead him to the Obscurus, such as Mrs. Figg being able to see the Dementors. However, if Grindelwald believed young Lita's lies and thought Credence was Corvus, than he might have banked on finding a powerful young pureblood with full magical abilities. But Grindelwald did not realize Credence was the Obscurus, because that developed under Mary Lou's loving care. After Credence's explosive revelation, Grindelwald had time, 6 months of it, time to put the pieces of the puzzle together and formulate a new plan, one that would end with both him and Credence in Paris, in the amphitheater, a path that he started laying well before his meeting with his acolytes. The path he plotted started with the adoption certificate. Thanks so much to Leon Huntjens for sharing this image of the birth certificate and its back with the name Irma Dugard in Paris, France. And thanks to Sebastian at Harry Potter Wiki for sharing the translated text of Credence finding the certificate in the rubble of his former home. Nothing suspicious about that, right? Unless we've also been shown later in the movie how Abernathy is key in obtaining and planting information to lead Leta and Credence to the Lestrange Mausoleum. Abernathy was in New York and was in cahoots with Grindelwald long enough to switch places and have his own tongue cut out. Knowing that Credence would probably return to his destroyed home at some point, did Grindelwald instruct Abernathy to wipe out the baby's original name, then plant the doctored document where Credence could find it? Perhaps, too, Grindelwald deliberately changed the date on the certificate. Notice that even the adoption date of 1905 makes no sense when compared to the Vital Statistics Registration Act of 1906, a year later. It's as if Mina Lima is taunting us. But why would Grindy alter the dates? Was it to make Credence think he was younger? To hide the fact that a homunculus ages slower? Or to hide something critical that happened in 1904? They left Irma's signature on the back intact, however, to lead Credence straight to Paris. Think for a moment. How would Grindelwald have known Credence was heading to Paris if he were not already aware of this adoption certificate? Then, Grindelwald plotted his own escape so that he could meet up with Credence at the most desirable location. Ever since seeing the film, I've wondered why Grindelwald, who was already free in his disguise as Abernathy, attached himself to the fleeing coach heading to Europe. Why didn't he just apparate away? Was he just so kind-hearted that he needed to rescue Abernathy? I believe he carefully crafted an escape that would not only give him a free ride to Europe along with his new trusted lieutenant, but ensure the handover and security of his Elder Wand, and even more importantly, his blood trough vial. Then, once in Paris, where we pick up the trail as we've speculated before, Grindelwald has Grimson execute Irma at the precise moment of her revealing enough, but not too much, of Credence's history, before she could disclose Grindelwald's earlier involvement. And then Grindelwald's plan culminates in the amphitheater, where Credence has no one left, none that Grindelwald hasn't killed off, and is forced to join Grindelwald to discover his true identity, one that Grindelwald has carefully crafted to pit Credence against his ex-lover. For Grindelwald's sake, he better hope there's no one else out there who can reveal to Credence who abandoned him to Mary Lou's loving care. So, I may be off base in parts of this theory, but I'm convinced of this. There is some past connection between Leta and Grindelwald, something from her childhood, something that Grindelwald does not want Credence to know, one that he was willing to kill Irma to hide, and to taunt Leta into sacrificing herself. And according to LA Acting Auditions Examiner on Blogspot, as shown to me on November 15th by author Lori Kim, but since deleted, Zoe Kravitz is confirmed to return for FB3. Maybe we'll see her character resurrected, but I think it more likely she has further secrets to share, some that we may see through magical flashbacks or talking portraits she left behind. So, what do you think? Please share your thoughts in the comments, and don't click off yet because I'm about to announce the giveaways for my 12 Days of Grindelmoss celebration. Also, please check out my new fan shop on Amazon for books and Funko Pops and wands and all things Fantastic Beasts. The 12 Days of Grindelmoss will celebrate all things Crimes of Grindelwald, not just the man himself. To thank you for a year of wonderful community as we awaited this film together, I'll be hosting lots of giveaways for this channel's subscribers, which will include 3 Newt Scamander wand pins exclusively from Lumos. I donated and am sharing these pins with you, but please consider them in your season of giving as well. I've linked to Lumos above. Other giveaways will include Funko Pops, such as the Matago, Chupacabra, and of course, Grindelwald. Entry is simple. All you have to do is subscribe, click the bell notification, and comment on any or all of the videos. The more videos you comment on, the more chances you have of winning. That's it. Anyone around the world can enter, though be aware that it may take longer for the prizes to reach you. The deadline for entry is December 24, 2018. For a description of the giveaways and a full list of how this giveaway will work, see the description box below.